Alright, I think we are ready. Nice to see everyone. We have it a little simpler today. No problem. Okay. It's the first day of the year. If you were in the Czech Republic, you would probably never wake up at this time. So I'm most appreciative and most praising you all for waking up, even though it's the 1st of January for you. It's for me too. I still have 1st of January. I'm now in Japan, indeed. But after 56 minutes, I will have January 2. While you will still have it will be in your place. Something like morning, noon. In your place, I will have here January 2. You will have morning, January 1. Okay, so now let's start with meditation. You can sit in a comfortable meditation posture. Jake, yeah, yes, that's better. Very good. So as we are sitting in a comfortable meditation posture, make sure your back is erect, side cast down. And in our minds, voicelessly, we can make the first determination. From now on, for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on, for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on, for 15 minutes, I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. And with that determination, we can gently, lovingly notice the flat piece of flesh at the top of the head. Let's allow it to be heavy and changing. We continue in this manner to the forehead, eyes, nose, lips, chin, cheeks, ears, back of the head, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the head to be heavy and changing. We continue to the neck, shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, palms, fingers, tips of fingers, chest, abdomen, back, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the upper part of the body to be heavy and changing. We continue to the buttocks, thighs, knees, calves, heels, soles, toes, tips of toes, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the body to be heavy and changing. As we give the freedom to the body to be the way it is, we enjoy freedom from worry about the body. Let's watch this freedom. Let's watch this peace. Now, when we have developed peace, we can share it with other living beings. But if you found it difficult to develop peace, consider the fact that you have clothes on your body, you have roof above your head, you probably had something to eat yesterday. Not everybody is so lucky. So that's also a way how you enjoy peace. Whatever is the peace we have, we do not force, we don't expect, we just allow all beings in our room to enjoy it. May all beings in this room be in peace. May all beings in this room be in peace. Now let's gradually expand our thought of loving kindness. May all beings in this building be in peace. May all beings in this city or village be in peace. May all beings in this country be in peace. May all beings on this continent be in peace. May all beings on this planet be in peace. May all beings, including me, be in peace. Make sure your back is erect. If not, you can always correct it. May all beings, including me, be in peace. Now, because the time for this sitting is finished, let's make the last determination in our minds voicelessly. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. And with that determination, we can slowly, mindfully change the way of our sitting. And when we have changed the way of our sitting, let's take one more minute to enjoy the peace we gained in meditation. Okay, very well. So, see, we have here Isabella. Isabella, do you have working camera? If yes, you may like to turn it on. Excuse me?
I'm sorry, I'm here.
Yes. Does your camera work? Would it be fine for you to turn it on?
Yes.
Very well. So, Isabella, did you have you ever attended our class before?
I've only attended it once, I believe.
Uh-huh. Well, do you remember when was that?
Last Sunday.
Last Sunday. Okay. Okay. Seems like I'm forgetting too fast. Very good. So, so let's move on to reciting 3 refuges, 5 precepts. Today we'll recite in the Burmese pronunciation. So Isabella, do you have access to our Viber group?
My father's in it, but I don't have Viber in general.
Okay. Then we will be following Burmese pronunciation. It's good if you know how the Burmese pronunciation is different from the Sri Lanka pronunciation, which is the more international version. So I have sent in the chat box of Zoom a little table that I have created for these purposes. Can you open it?
Yes, I'm able to open it.
Okay, great. So later when you have some time, you can go through it. It shows you the 3 classes of rules, how to read the Sri Lanka pronunciation with Burmese pronunciation, how to read well, what we will be seeing will be the Roman script, which can be also called the Italian script. It is today the most famous script for writing ancient languages. Some people call it the English script because the English script is very similar. However, it's not a real English script, it is a Roman script. And Roman script is used to transliterate the Pali scriptures. And it follows the Sri Lankan style. So the script that we use for studying Pali language is developed in accordance with, yes, the Roman, with the Latin language, but most importantly, it follows the rules of the Sri Lankan transliteration of Sri Lankan Pali texts. Therefore, when you try to read it with Burmese pronunciation, you will see there are very interesting differences. I personally believe that those differences are not very big, but you may feel otherwise. So I'll show you how that looks like. So these are the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. As you can see, we are using a script that's very similar to the script of English, but there are some differences, such as these little dots and these little lines and some waves and maybe even some more things. So these indicate pronunciation, and if you follow them properly, you will pronounce in the Sri Lankan pronunciation. Today we will, however, pronounce in Burmese language. So if you follow these marks, then of course the pronunciation would be wrong from the Burmese point of view. First I say Yamahan vadami tang vadeta, which means what I say you say. In other words, repeat after me, and you can then reply Ama Bhante. We will be following Burmese pronunciation, and from then on, be very careful about the way how I am reciting, so that you come as close as possible to the way that Burmese people pronounce it when they recite the 3 refuges, the 5 precepts. We recite the Sri Lankan, we use the Sri Lankan pronunciation always 1 week, and then the next comes Burmese, then the other week comes Sri Lankan, then the other week comes Burmese. So we alternate the Burmese and the Sri Lankan pronunciation every week. All right, so I would like to ask you everyone to unmute yourself and to keep your hands together at the chest as the symbol that you're serious about taking the 3 refuges, 5 precepts. And we can start. Yamaha vadami tam vadeta. So we had some problem with the connection, so let's try again. Yamaha vadami tam vadeta. Thank you. So now we are coming to the portion where you repeat after me. You will be requesting me to give you 3 refuges, 5 precepts, so that you can repeat after me. Aham bhante titarane nataha Daka uzin internet shitila. Internet ma uzin ma now song set dissetterly shiba. Internet box shit. Oh. Oh. 그래 우선 너무 봅시다. Nam SPWN What's me? Oh, shave. Okay. Kamabi, very well. I've got a better connection. So let's see if it's if this will resolve it. So let's try again the repetition. So remember to keep your hands together at the chest. Yes, very well. Aham bhante titarane nataha tien satilan dhamma yasami. Anaugahan katawa tilan de tame bhante anukampang upadaya. Dutiyampi aham bhante Titaranena taha Piensa tilan dhammaya sami Anaugahan katawa Tilan de thame bhante Anukampa upadaya Tatiyampi aham bhante Titaranena taha Piensa tilan dhammaya sami Anaugahan katawa Tilan de thame bhante Anukampa upadaya Namo tata bhagavato arahato tamma sambuddhassa Now for the second time. Okay, so the recitation actually goes 3 times. I maybe didn't tell you the last time because the last time actually we didn't have a class. So I told it in every class except in this one. So when you recite this sentence, when you repeat it after a Burmese monk, you would always repeat it 3 times while the Burmese monk says it just 1 time. But be careful about others because others may not have finished their recitation. So see if you can hear others finishing their sentence. If you see that they have finished, you can start up the second time. And when you see everyone has finished the second time, you can start up the third time. So let's try it again. Namo tata bhagavato arahato tamma sambuddhassa
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato tamma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato tamma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato tamma sambuddhassa.
Excellent. Thank you. Very well done. So now we are moving on to taking the 3 refuges. So this time you're repeating only after me, only 1 time after me, but it is a little longer. So again, after each part, be careful that others already have finished. When you think others have finished, you can continue with the other part. Bodhantaranang gishami, Dhammantaranang gishami, Sanghantaranang gishami.
Buddham saranam gissami, Dhammam saranam gissami, Sangham saranam gissami.
Okay, you may like to follow my speed. If you follow my speed, everybody, then it's a higher chance that you will be going together unisono. Uni means one, sono means voice, so going in the same, in one voice. Dutiyampi bodhantaranang gishami, Dutiyampi dhammantaranang gishami, Dutiyampi sanghantaranang gishami.
Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gissami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gissami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gissami.
Okay, seems like you will need some more training, but as the time goes, you may find out that that it's possible actually to follow not just my pronunciation and the words, but even the speed. So let's try the third one. Tatiyampi bodhantaranang gishami, Tatiyampi dhammantaranang gishami, Tatiyampi sanghantaranang gishami.
Tatiyampi
Tatiyampi bodam saranam gissami. Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gissami. Tatiyampi sangham saranam gissami.
Very well. So now I will acknowledge that going for refuges is complete. And you can then reply Amabhante, which means yes, Venerable Sir. Dharana Gamanam Paripona.
Amabhante.
So now come the 5 precepts. The first one means I follow the rule of refraining from killing living beings. Not only that we don't kill or harm, we in fact wish and help everyone to be happy, healthy, and live a long life. Panatipata Veramani Tekha Padantamadiyami.
Panatipata veramani tikhabadam tamadiyami.
The second rule means I follow the rule of refraining from taking what is not given. It means we never steal, and if we borrow, we first ask for permission. Adena dana veramani tekha padantamadiyami.
Adena veramani tikhabadam tamadiyami.
The third precept means I follow the rule of refraining from sexual misconduct. It means that if you have a wife or a husband, you never cheat on them, you're always faithful to them. Ideally, you don't even fall in love with anyone else than with your husband or wife. Kame tu meisa sara veramani tekha padantamadiyami.
Kamesvamesa sara veramani tikhabadam tamadiyami.
Very well. The fourth precept means I follow the rule of refraining from false speech. It means we never tell a lie. Mutawada veramani tekha padantamadiyami.
Musavada veramani tikhabadam tamadiyami.
So now comes the last precept. I follow the rule of refraining from drinking alcohol and taking drugs. Dura meraya misa. Pamadatthana veramani tekha padantamadiyami.
Pamadatthana veramani tikhabadam tamadiyami.
Very well. So now I will encourage you all in following and protecting the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts very well, and to make effort mindfully. You can then reply Amabhanti if you agree with that. Titaranena tadhain piensatilan dhammam tadukanturakidang katawa apamadena tampadetam.
Amabhante.
May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Very well. So, Isabella, do you already know and understand the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts, or do you have any question about them?
No, I do understand them.
Okay. Did you already do you already have experience of taking 3 refuges, 5 precepts in the past outside our class?
Yes, my mother taught me when I was younger.
Mm-hmm. Very well. Very nice. Okay, so now the plan is to look at the next 10 pages of our new book, the commentary, the Dhammapada Commentary. So, Isabella, do you know about the book Dhammapada Commentary? Do you have it?
No, I'm not sure if I have it.
Okay, so I will share it with you in the chat box. Okay, it should be there. So you can check the Zoom checkbox to see if you find it there. Sherry, do you also know? Do you, Sherry and Jeffrey, do you know about our new book?
No.
I have it.
You have it, okay. How
Yeah.
do you have it, Jeffrey? You already had
Viber.
it before? Or, through the Viber, perfect. So,
Yeah.
Jeffrey and Sherry, did you manage to read the 10 pages for today?
No.
Jeffrey?
No.
Okay. Actually, these 10 pages that we had for today were very easy because they were just not just, but a large portion of that was just references, so you would be only skipping through pretty fast. Anyway, that means also that it should not be so difficult for you to make up for the missed portion and read the next 10 pages, which will be let's see, that will be 41 to 50, right? There will be some beautiful table on the way, quite some text, but this is still introduction, and this introduction is very well written. This is such a powerful summary of the Buddha's teachings. So okay. Can someone try to download that file and see if it works for them, to know whether it's the problem of the file or whether it's a problem on Isabella's side? Jake, can you please try to download this file and open it and see if it works from the chat box?
I can download it.
You've downloaded it, and were you able to open it to see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Isabella, it seems that it's a problem on your device. Anyway, Isabella, if you share with me your email address, I'll send it to you by email.
All right.
Okay, so just a moment, please. Okay, so can you please check your email box and see if it arrived?
Yes, thank you. I can open it now.
Nice. Okay, so I think we can move on to reading our notes. Does anyone have a question regarding those 10 pages? If you have any question, it would be good to start with those questions. If there's any word or sentence or paragraph or idea that you don't understand or that you'd like to know more about, now is the best time to ask. In this portion, there was a lot of interesting information about the difference between, or actually similarity between, Christian stories and Buddhist stories. If you took some more time to research those stories, because you have there the addresses of those stories, you would have learned a lot of very interesting things. I found it personally very interesting because it is mind-boggling how the Christian stories are similar to the Buddhist stories, in some cases sometimes. But interestingly, the Buddhist stories are much older than the Christian stories. Okay, so Max, do you have your notes from those 10 pages, and can you please read for us? You can read 2 if you have two sentences.
The Buddha declared in his first sermon that monks should not devote pleasures of sense, but also not sacrifice all pleasures. Instead, follow the middle way, which avoids extremities.
Mm-hmm. Very well. So what about Jake?
Throughout his life, the evil one tried to tempt the Buddha into giving up. Before the Buddha made a great retirement, the evil one urged him to. When the Buddha
The
was
sound
gone,
is not clear. Can you maybe come closer to the microphone and also read slowly?
okay. Throughout his life, the evil one tried to tempt the Buddha into giving up on his cause. Before the Buddha made a great retirement, the evil one urged him to abandon his purpose. And when the Buddha was fasting, the evil one tried to convince him to give up his struggle when accompanied by his 9 hosts.
Yes, very well. Perfect. Yazan?
I found interesting the mention of the 3 temptations: the temptation to assume empire, the temptation to transmute matter, the temptation to commit suicide.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's interesting, isn't it? Okay, Sandy?
Since the religion of Buddha knows no God, prayer forms no part of the religious life, is not even mentioned.
Mm-hmm. I think that was a little too fast for me. Can you please read it again and slow?
Since the religion of Buddha knows no God, prayer forms no part of the religious life and is not even mentioned.
Yes, that's right. So, of course, there's a lot of prayer and there are a lot of gods in Buddhism, but it's not the kind of prayer that you find in Christianity. So, in Christianity, you pray to the God because only God is the one who can fulfill your wishes and you have zero power. Whereas in Buddhism, you have full power, and when you pray to gods, you only pray them for support rather than to do it all for you. Also, when you pray to Buddha, and there are people who pray to Buddha, the Buddha is not available. So they're praying to the potential of power that remains even after the Buddha goes to Parinibbana. And they do not pray because they think that the Buddha will be so compassionate and the Buddha will do whatever the people want. But instead, they pray that the consequences of their good deeds happen now rather than later. So people donate flowers, they donate perfumes, they donate lamps, oil lamps, they donate water, they donate food to a Buddha statue, thinking, may the Buddha be happy. This, of course, the Buddha doesn't get anything of this, but this is a good preparation for future, when the people meet with the future Buddha known as Buddha Metteya. So at that time, because of this habit that they're donating things to the Buddha now, to a Buddha who cannot make use of them at all, because of that habit, next life, in the future, when they meet with the Buddha Metteya, thanks to this habit, it will be easy for them to donate these things to the real living Buddha who will make use of them. So those are good deeds, and it is possible to wish something for these good deeds. And some people wish for that good marks, good grades at school. Some people wish for that money. Some people wish kids. Some people wish health. Various things people wish. But it's not that they would wish thinking, okay, so the God will be compassionate and he will do whatever I want. Instead, they did already a good deed, and now it's only about the time when that good deed will bring about the result. And they wish that the result comes soon and in the way that they would appreciate at this moment. As for gods, in Buddhism we believe in gods, and we even believe in a God who created the world, except that we believe that he is wrong about it. So we believe that there is a God who thinks that he created the world, but we do not believe that he did create the world. That's the difference. We believe that he's wrong. And also we believe that the Buddha himself visited the God in heaven and that the Buddha rebuked him for those ideas. If you said this to a Christian, I think they would be pretty disgusted with Buddhism. But that's how we have it in our scriptures. So we do believe in a lot of gods, but we don't believe that they created the world. And most importantly, we don't believe that they can. We don't believe that they can. We don't believe that they can forgive us our bad deeds. They can forgive whatever they want, but the consequences of our bad deeds will come back to us, whether any God thinks about it, anything or not. We will suffer consequences of our actions, and that's it. Interestingly, in Christianity, they also believe that you will suffer for your bad deeds and you will enjoy for your good deeds. But it is in contradiction to the idea of a God who decides whether you suffer or not. So in Christianity, we will find a lot of very interesting, important philosophical contradictions like this. So indeed, you suffer according to your actions, you enjoy according to your actions, except that you don't. In Buddhism, you do. It is impossible for Christians to explain why do newborn babies suffer. They say that this is the God's plan. What kind of plan is that? Many Christians, they explain the problem of suffering as something that this is the exam. This is the exam of your faith. And also it is something that you follow so that you understand Jesus Christ and you more appreciate Jesus Christ. But this would work. This is a good idea. accept that it's not the same for everybody. If it was the same for everybody, then okay. But it's not. There are people who suffer, people who don't. People who are born, they suffer as newborns when they're 1 year old, 2 year old, 3 year old, and then they die. What kind of test was that? What kind of understanding was that? What kind of training in faith was that? Nothing. Then there are people who live 90 years, 80 years, and they don't suffer. They don't have disease. They are rare, but they don't suffer. Or if they suffer, those diseases are trifling. What kind of test was that? No. Cannot accept. Whenever you hear Christians speaking about suffering, notice this. They will speak only about themselves, but they forget that each person has it different, that it's so extremely unfair. If it was fair, if it was same for everybody, okay, but it's so extremely different. If it was different little, but it's different extremely much. There are people who suffer excruciating pain every day for years. There are people who enjoy pleasure every day for years. And you will find these people of excruciating suffering as Christians and as non-Christians. You will find those who enjoy incredible pleasures as Christians and also non-Christians as those who praise Jesus Christ and believe and follow, as those who blame and ridicule. Zero connection. Totally unfair. There will be no more unfair being in the world than the God. Such incredible differences. Christians never talk about it because there is no answer for it. It's total failure, totally illogical, irrational, nonsensical belief. It's Christianity. But it's not just about Christianity. All of these beliefs that believe in one God, Creator, come into this huge problem. Did the God create suffering? And why is the suffering different for everyone? It is one of the reasons why I became a Buddhist. I studied at a Catholic high school. I studied Christianity. I visited a Christian monk every week for discussion about Christianity. I was a devout Christian. But Christianity was not able to answer to me this question. Why do some people suffer and some don't? Why are some people successful, some aren't? Why some people die early? Why some people die later? Christianity has zero answer. It can answer for one individual as a test, as a preparation, as a training of faith, but it is unable to answer in general for all living beings. So then when I read in a book about Buddhism that this is because of karma, immediately I was a Buddhist. Because that was my question. And the answer is perfect. So, I'm now a student at a Christian university, so I need to be careful about what I say about Christianity. But this is how I feel about it. Like Christianity is the religion of fools. But these people, they do not realize that there is another way of taking the reality. They do not see that Christianity is so totally blind. On the other hand, we also see that Christianity and these monotheistic religions like some kinds of Hinduism, Sikhism, Baha'i, Judaism, and many, many other who believe in one God Creator, they are coming into this huge problem. we have no such problem in Buddhism, because Buddhism clearly speaks about the previous lives and about future lives. Christianity knows about next future life, that's all beautiful, but Christianity, at least the official belief, does not accept previous lives. There is a theory that original Christianity did believe in previous lives, but it's not officially accepted, so it's useless to talk about it. You will probably not find a devout Christian who believes in previous lives. When Christians have children who remember their past lives and they tell about it to their parents, the parents do their best to make the children to forget their past lives. There are actually children who remember their past lives. But imagine it. You have a child as a Christian who doesn't believe in previous lives, and the child explains to you that you were his child. So there was a case of a man who had a child, and the child actually previously was the man's dad. He was his own grandpa. Can you imagine? So let's say a gentleman called James has a son called Peter, and he had a father called John. His father, John, died, and then he had a kid. He gave him the name Peter. But Peter in his past life was John. And of course, John knows everything about James. And Peter does too. So when Peter learns how to speak, when he gets the necessary muscles and abilities of the body to speak, then he tells to his son, father, James, what he did when he was a kid. Oh, James, when you were a kid, do you remember what we were doing together? But James a Christian. It's a problem. James a Christian. So what will he do with that? It's a problem. So Christians sometimes have a lot of fun with their kids. For Buddhists, there is no such problem. Buddhists have a kid and the kid remembers their life and they think, oh, that's wonderful. So you did something good that you can remember your past lives. And for them, it's wonderful. But for Christians, it's not wonderful. It's a problem because it harms their views. Their views are harmed by obvious evidence, by ridiculous evidence. So it's sometimes quite difficult to think about Christianity and appreciate it. But we see in Christianity a lot of interesting similarities, and obviously those who are as critical like me and who find Christianity as illogical, they will find any connections of Christian wisdom to something else. They will say, no, actually Christianity is just a copy of something else, because it's so illogical, it just so much doesn't make any sense, that whatever is good there certainly must be copied from somewhere else. It's not true. You do not need to, if you make an error in your logical thinking, it doesn't mean that you make error in everything else. You may make an error in one thing, but you may be right in another thing. So I do not actually agree that the stories are taken from Buddhism. I don't say that it's not true. I say that I just don't agree. Maybe they are. Maybe some of the Christian stories are really copies of the Buddhist stories. But there's no evidence. What's your proof? Zero proof. It's just an idea. Okay, the story in Bible is similar to the story in Tipitaka, and that's it. That's all what you have. You do not know that it was copied. That is your own idea. All of these 10 pages that you are reading are extremely fabricated. Do you know the word? They're just conjectures. Do you know these words? Conjectures, one's own ideas, what they made up. these scholars, they are apparently even more disappointed with Christianity than me. And not only that they are just disappointed with Christianity, but they live that way. They think that way. So when they read Buddhism, they think, oh, certainly whatever is good in Christianity must have been copied from somewhere else. And they are not able to think another way. So it's another extreme, you know. One extreme is to be a blind Christian, blind faith Christian, and the other extreme is to say, no, actually, whatever is good in Christianity certainly is copied from somewhere else. Those are two unnecessary extremes. We don't need that. Instead, we accept similarity as similarity, and that's it. We do not go into the conclusion like, oh, this is certainly copied. Like, there was, in one page was written that the story that Mara, the demon, enticed the Buddha to die when the Buddha was dead. When the Buddha was old. That this story is obviously, you know, it's written there like, it's obviously a copy of the story when Mara came to the Buddha right after the Buddha's enlightenment and suggested to the Buddha that he achieves parinibbana, that he goes to die. And for the author of this book, this is so obvious. They're like not thinking, not realizing that this is their own conjecture. So I will read it for you. It is in an earlier page. Let me see where I saw it. Yes, this is what we will see in page 34. There are these different points, and we have here the connection of the different stories, the idea that this story is actually coming from that story, and that story is the same as that story, and so on and on. So this page 34 is all just fabricated. It's just an idea that this is from there, that is from here, and there's no evidence for this. It may be the feeling of the author, but it doesn't mean that this is so. Why is it impossible? Why would it be impossible that the Mara approached the Buddha also after his enlightenment and also before the Buddha's death? Why would it have to be just one single thing, one single time that Mara visited the Buddha? I do not see the exact point that I want to see. Yes, here I see in page 35, somewhere in the middle. He says, this temptation at the end of the Buddha's life is meaningless. It is, of course, a duplicate of F. What? Why would it be meaningless? What is the evidence that it is meaningless? What is the evidence that it's a duplicate? Zero evidence. Zero reason. It's just the feeling of the author. When you are reading books about Buddhism from scholars like this, you need to be very careful. These ideas are amazing. I personally love them so much. They're so interesting because they help you to put certain things together. But that's it. They have nothing to do with truth. They're just ideas, just food for thought. So when you read these pages, 31 to 40, be careful, because they're they're just fabricated ideas. On the other hand, they're interesting, and they're definitely good to read, also for you to understand how modern Buddhist scholarship works. Modern Buddhist scholarship works in the way that you try to find similarities, and you try to think what might have been written earlier and what might have been written later. But that doesn't mean that it's right. And so scholars, they argue with each other. They say, oh, this was written earlier. No, this was written later. No, this was written actually half earlier and half later. No, this was actually written even later than what you think. No, this was actually written earlier than what you think. That's how modern Buddhist scholars discuss. They have no evidence, just ideas. And so there are endless ideas and endless arguments and endless writings. And so that's what they do. So be ready for that. As students of Buddhism, you will probably meet with this very often. And it's good for you to always remember, they're just bubbles. They're just so bubbles. As soon as you touch them, disappear. Okay. So anyone has any question, anything you'd like to say? All right, I see we lost Shuri, but Shuri can later watch this from a recording. Yes, Isabella?
When I was younger, like this is related from Buddhism to Roman Catholics, Christianity, Roman Catholics. So like when I was younger, I was told that the idea of Jesus was taken from Buddhism, like whatever Buddhism was learned, like whatever Buddhism has learned, like God like created Jesus and kind of took some of the idea of Buddhism and put it into Jesus. That's what I had from when I was younger, so I don't know if it's actually true or not.
No, it's totally wrong. Those are some ideas that people who are so extremely disappointed with Christianity, they take Buddhism as their blind man's stick, as their stick. So they are so disappointed with Christianity, and they are so desperate that they say, no, actually Christianity is Buddhism. Done. It's totally wrong. Christianity is so extremely different from Buddhism. The differences are extremely important. And those who say that Christianity is actually coming from Buddhism, or this funny thing that Christ was in India and he taught, he learned there Buddhism, and then he went back to Jerusalem and there he was teaching Christianity, is totally wrong. It totally forgets the fact that that in Buddhism we do not have belief in God Creator, whereas in the Jesus teaching, God Creator is the essential part. If Jesus went to India and learned Buddhism, then he would not be teaching about one God Creator, and he would not say that he himself is Son of God. What? This is totally nonsense. It is possible that Jesus went to India and he learned Hinduism. And then he was spreading Hinduism, because Hinduism, some strands, because Hinduism is basically a collection of religions. It's not one religion or two or three, it's many, many religions of India. So Hinduism, some versions of Hinduism, they actually do believe in one God Creator. So it is possible that Jesus actually learned under Hinduist ascetics, under Hinduist priests, and then he was teaching that. And he could think that he's the Son of God. That is perfectly fine. That is possible, but not Buddhism. Absolutely not. But people, they are so happy about Buddhism, and maybe they worry that Christians would be angry with Buddhists. So, some people say the best defense is attack. So instead of the necessity to defend Buddhism, they say they attack Christianity. They say, you know what, Christians are actually wrong Buddhists. They're actually Buddhists who don't follow Buddhism. Instead of saying, okay, so whatever, Christianity is like this, Buddhism is like that, so we see a different way and that's it. It's very difficult sometimes. Some people, when they have a view, when they have a belief, they believe that everyone must believe this and no one should believe anything else. And that's where you get these problems. That's where you get religious conflicts. When people have attachment to their view and they feel that everyone must have that view and no one else. No other view. So be careful about these things. People will probably tell you that Jesus was better than the Buddha. Some people will tell you that the Buddha was better than Jesus. You can think whatever you want, but examine their ideas and show them that there is no proof for those ideas. There is indeed a place in India where it is believed that Jesus actually died, because it's believed that Jesus, after Jesus achieved resurrection, after Jesus resurrected, which I personally would easily explain that a God helped him to heal his wounds and to be resurrected. We don't have any. We can actually describe the resurrection of Jesus, but it's more probable that Jesus actually did not die and that he was severely injured. There would be serious debates about this, but theologians very much doubt that actually Jesus died. Those who believe that Jesus died, they will say that the apostles, when they saw Jesus after his death, they saw only fantasies, that it was not real Jesus, that it was only what they saw. Because there is a problem in the way how it's written in Bible, and it really seems that they actually did not see real Jesus, that they only saw some kind of fantasy. Even when Thomas was putting his fingers into the wounds of Jesus, still it is believed that this could be a fantasy, that it was not real, that they did not see a real Jesus. If Jesus really was resurrected, we still can explain it through Buddhist understanding. Because in Buddhism, if you have a good karma, nothing can kill you. And even if you die, you can wake up from the dead if you have a good karma. And there are even cases of people who believe that they died. A Buddhist monk who believed that he died for 7 days. He was already in the coffin. He was just going to be burned in the crematorium or whatever you call it. And before his coffin would arrive at the fire, he opened it. Hi everybody, and it's actually alive. Can you imagine? Hard to imagine, right? So if he could do it, well, then why Jesus wouldn't be able to do it? No problem with that. And does it mean that he was resurrected by God? Probably not. So even if Jesus was resurrected, we can easily explain that by Buddhism. Buddhism is very clever and very vast in understanding the realities of the world. It's not blind to say, no, it's just this and nothing else. No. So we do know about a tomb. Yeah, that's the word I was searching. A tomb of Jesus Christ in India. And it's there. Everybody visit it. It's not secret. It's actually pretty nicely done. There's a documentary about this, and we can see that there really is a tomb of Jesus Christ. It's probably a tomb of Jesus Christ. There is this point, but that doesn't mean that Jesus was teaching Buddhism. Having a tomb in India of Jesus Christ and saying that Jesus was teaching Buddhism are two totally different things. So you need to be careful about the ideas that you're hearing from others and help them examine their ideas. But where did you get this idea? Well, I saw a documentary. So give me the documentary and we can watch it together and we see whether this makes sense or it doesn't make sense. You see the documentary and you see, aha, it's actually a documentary about where Jesus died, not about where did Jesus get his teachings. So it's that's something else. So always examine it. Today people are very clever to put things together and make up stories, but in Buddhism, we don't accept it. Theravada Buddhism, the school of Buddhism from Myanmar, is extremely precise. Extremely precise. It requires that you are very careful about your thinking. You need to be very strict on your thinking, on yourself. Whatever you believe, whatever you remember, where is it in the scriptures? How is it in the Pali text? Did you analyze it? Did you read the commentaries, sub-commentaries? With who did you discuss this? You need to have excellent support for anything that you believe in Theravada Buddhism. If you do not have that support, then we cannot trust it. So that's Buddhism. Buddhism is extremely strict. Whatever you believe, whatever you say, must be well supported by the scriptures, must be well supported by, ideally by evidence, ideally if you have meditation experience, so that not only that you take the information from the scriptures, but you also have experienced it. Both of the things together are very powerful. Okay, so we are 30 minutes over time, but it was a pleasure to see you, to discuss with you extremely important thing. You all live in a Christian environment, like it or not, and you need to be very careful, very respectful towards all Christians. I do not say that Christians are fools, that's only what I can say, and only in this class, but be careful about it. Christians are very careful. Many Christians are very proud of their religion. However, from the Buddhist point of view, Christianity is very limited, and we need to understand that, and we need to appreciate the Buddha's teachings, therefore. So we do not say anything critical about Christians in order to make them angry or to show that they are wrong. Instead, we do that, we say that in order to remind ourselves how lucky we are that we follow the Buddha's teachings, and to encourage us in following all the precepts, in being generous, in being kind, in being patient. All right, so may you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana.
Everybody, please unmute and say goodbye to the Seattle.
Goodbye, Venerable Sir.
Venerable Sir.
Thank you. Bye.